Hey Trizan, what's up, baby? Yeah, I got Kara on the list too. We'll go over in a sec. Now the Goose Island, I could get behind. See, like when you have like more of a base like this, guys, right? And you're kind of busting over it, and like it's Canada Goose, tops estimates, misses revenue, whatever, right? Well, like when you get like a bigger base like this and you start to break under, that gives it a little bit more range to fall. So I like this kind of gap down short. This I can get behind. All right, CPRI, Capri Holdings. So as long as this thing stays under 35, I think you're going to have a chance on this. I'd add that to the list too for now. Elf. Dude, remember we used to have the guy in the chat room, Elf Lord? Man, how sick was he? Man, this is not my cup of tea. Hey, morning, guys. How's everybody doing? Timmy, what's up? Noah, how you doing? Dan, how you doing? Yeah, so we're getting a little bit of action to the downside in, the overall markets today. We have a date with probably that 200 SMA, give or take. Now, whether the market actually holds at the 200 SMA, nobody knows. Last time it just kind of roasted over it and it kind of dusted under it even on the downside. So sometimes, when you have volatility in the markets or you have news in the markets, like a moving average is not going to really hold this thing. But, so we're getting a little bit, we're breaking out of the zone though. And this is where, we were talking about the levels, right, yesterday and every day, right? So we broke under yesterday. Like we finally kind of flushed under that spot now. So what we're getting is extra volatility. We're going to have probably a day with the 200 before we find any support. We need to be careful on days like this, right? If you get too aggressive to the long side in trading, say, tech names or non-PR names, then you're going to have, right, like an inherent kind of hold and level of resistance on your stocks that you're trying to trade. If you're going on the long side on days like this, you have to make sure that they're stocks that have PR or, you're doing these little kind of solely pumpy stocks because those are the ones that'll move like independent to the market. But if you have like just a regular stock on your list, like say you want to trade NVIDIA or something, that's going to move with the market right now. So you have to have a good read on the market overall. Otherwise, all the stocks that you do are going to be just totally dusted. So what we want to do today is add TVIX to the list here. You're actually coming out of the zone now, remounting some MAs. Man, it had a really nice kind of shred zone in at the open. So you got, see that? $2. Hey, Robbie, what's up, baby? Danny, how you doing? You got $2 up, coming into the kitchen, into the close. So that's on watch for today. We want to be able to play something like this with TVIX. You want to trade a little bit smaller, right? You don't want to get too aggressive in your sizing. Like normally if you were going to buy a $25 stock, say you were going to get 1,000 shares of it, you would want to do less size on TVIX because it's a leverage ETF. But add it to the list. It's kind of fun and we like having it on the list. Let's talk about some of these gappers and stuff like that. There's a whole host of them that just got shredded yesterday, but let's talk about this. So this solely is still creeping up. I know a lot of you guys want to trade this thing. I'll probably stay away from this one. This one looks like stress, but it does have a ton of momentum and stuff like that. When you have like something that's really extended though, that's up 400, 500%, make sure that you're really kind of hitting these things on dips. Like let them like pull back to support, hold at certain levels and then release them. If you try to chase them higher, they can, the rug can get pulled anytime. I can't even tell you how many times, like, I've traded small caps and like you're just doing fine and then you go for like that one last trade, right? That one last gasp in it and then the rug gets pulled and you're just like, shit, right? So, that's something that you guys got to just always be wary of if you're trading some of this stuff. But it's got the heat, It's only got a 2 million share float, so you're going to have really like all sorts of momentum going. Hey, Tanner, what's up, baby? Add Kara to the list. Kara, you got like a nice kind of just like a range break that's been happening. It's going back from November of 2017. It's got 23 million share float. It's a biotech, so it does have the ability to move. This one will be on the list. If it doesn't hold like this, this breakout spot, though, I probably won't take it. Like if it starts to roll back under resistance points, then you don't want to be able to take these things. This ends up being a big waste of time. A&F has got earnings out today. Broke under the 200 SMA. Now, it looks pretty good. The issue is, like with stocks like A&F, they never do like what an NTNX, right? This thing trends all day, and you're just sitting around like, right? Like you're just riding it down. You never see a retail stock do that, right? Like I can never remember ever seeing that. So that's the issue with something like an A&F is that, I'm just old and biased and cranky, and so I know in my head what it's going to probably do, and it's going to be no good. Yeah, Bryce, we do. Now, Goose Island, this I can get behind. This one actually does have a good range on this. So this is on the top of the list for at least the gap down shorts. The issue on this is going to be that the SSR is on. So you're going to have to be a little bit careful right at the open to make sure like you're not just kind of coming in and getting shredded on this thing. But, man, Goose Island itself, it moves actually really well. So check and make sure you have the borrows. I keep Capri on the watch list too. As long as it can hold under this 36, I think you could take an ORB or a quick pullback buy on this. I haven't traded this one before. If I have, I don't even recall. So that's the only issue with this one. I've traded almost every stock known to man, but I don't recall doing this one. So that's where it's going to be a little bit tricky. Bryce, we're at now, Danny was asking, how do you trade TVIX? So TVIX is one of those ones, you never want to chase TVIX high, right? So, if you look and, look at the ranges on TVIX, if you're oh, man, it's starting to bounce, and you buy it, into spikes, especially if the EMAs are loose, then it doesn't end up following through, right? So if you chase it, you die. You chase it, then the rug gets pulled. You chase it, the rug gets pulled. And all that happens is you end up losing 30 cents, 40 cents over and over. And before you know it, you're frustrated, right? And you give up, and then later on it goes. So with TVIX, you want to have really nice consolidations. When they start to break, you need that kind of tighter patterns where you have 9 EMA coming up under the kitchen. That's going to be important. And yeah, if you're going to trade it, it's better to scoop it on the dips. Let it pull back, and then you can hit it as it remounts your EMAs, and you can keep selling into the spikes till it has its overall breakout. There are days that it just trades really choppy though, so you just have to be mindful. But see, this is kind of a quintessential TVIX chart, right? It has strength, and it pulls back and bounces, pulls back and bounces, pulls back and bounces. But if you try to take it on strength, you just get dusted. So don't chase this thing. And, that's actually a good rule for most of you guys on all stocks. So, that's always going to be the case. Momo had that reversal candle yesterday. I think this one, you know what? This thing comes back down and breaks this thing. So let's look for this thing to fill down the gap today. I got this on watch for a potential short. This ABLR, it's not doing too much volume, but it was bucking the market yesterday, so it had relative strength compared to what's happening in the individual market. I think that this one is something to keep an eye on. It's got a date it's got a breakout date basically going, right? It wants to party. It wants to get shredded in a good way. So I think that this one, I like that one a lot. We're still watching ZM for a bounce here. It's just riding along this trend line though. It doesn't really want to break out or do anything. So I won't take this one. If the market is weak today, right, and the market's getting it's just getting shredded, you don't want to take some of these thin ones like ZM because they're just not going to have the liquidity on it. So just leave that alone. If the market's getting shredded, only if the market starts to bounce, do you want to do these. And look, oil's getting shredded today. So there's more than enough kind of plays for today. But these are going to be, this is the watch list. And then the other thing, the other thing we want to really make sure we're doing is, what the fuck? The other thing we want to make sure is yesterday we have a whole host of like kind of second day play. So like this FL kind of faded off into the close. I think that this one's got like a little bit more downside to it. And then this plan was hot yesterday. So I think something like this, see how like it's an IPO breakout? If it can hold over 42 and the market starts to bounce again today, this thing is probably going to be a go-to. You had 9 million shares in volume. You know, you hung out over the breakout spot pretty much all day. Now, it didn't break out into the close. We were looking at this kind of 44 to see if we were looking at this 44 yesterday to see like if it would, you know, get over it and break out. But man, there was a gigantic cock seller sitting at 42, and he was kind of flush coming in and out. He was raining a couple shares, and he'd disappear. Then he'd rain a couple shares, disappear, and he was just sashaying around like a Turkish gypsy. And so, you know, we didn't end up taking the trade because, yeah, I could sense him just coming in. It was like he's just popping in and fucking with our mojo and then popping back out. But watch this thing. If the market starts to roll, you know, this one has a chance to go. This is a beautiful, that's as good looking of a breakout chart as you're going to find in the overall market. And then when you have like a recent IPO, right? So it's an IPO from 2018, so it's a newer issue. Those can be really good stocks to trade. I like that one a lot. So you know, that's like a second day play. SeaWorld. Who doesn't want to hang out at SeaWorld, right? This is going to be on watch for a good second day play. And then really, man, this NTNX, like if this thing can get jammed up a little bit into, man, like we could get this thing coming into maybe 32-ish zone, like just a little pop, man, 32, 32.50. We can reshort this thing, and we'll have ourselves a very nice time. I think that its earnings are what tomorrow, so like it may come in and take a little pop and then just get faded off. Obviously, this stock's got all sorts of shenanigans going on with it. It's been going down every day. So, guys, be good today. Let's do what we got to do. Man, there are there's tons of plays running around. Keep AMD on your watch list too, of course. Man, it was partying yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, I missed this one. That was my bad. You know what? I should be better at kind of monitoring, you know, into the day, like what's running, what's not running. And there were so many stocks running around yesterday, I kind of missed the monster trend in this. But we will keep an eye on it today. So let's do what we do, bros. Bros and hoes. You know what? This one doesn't do any volume, Eloy. I mean, I get it. It's cheap. But it's cheap for a reason. And it doesn't do any volume for a reason. Man, this thing was, you know, it's just going down every day, basically. Look at that chart. You know, oftentimes when a stock is cheap, it's because it stinks, right? So you'd have to see, like, you know, wait to see if this thing gets pumped by somebody. But that's not my cup of tea. It could hold the gap. It might not. Probably worth watching, just a little bit outside my area of expertise, I'd say. All right, let's go do what we do, peoples. Goose Island is the place to be.